Hello, I'm Frank Inglis from Capsule Computers, and I'm here today with the master, the legend, Mr. Chuck Huber, who you may know did the voice of Android 17.
I'm gonna kill all the humans. Humans are stupid.
Don't let him do that. He also did anime's most hated father, Shao Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist.
Fetch, Nina, fetch.
I don't want to do this interview anymore.
That's horrible.
Mr. Huber, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good. How's Australia treating you?
Oh, I love Australia. Australia's great. Australia makes like the UK way less gay. So good on you.
You heard that, the UK.
I've got a convention in England. I'm gonna go there. They're gonna see this. They're gonna be like, "What?"
We'll cut this off from
Yeah,
him.
just
cut
it's
the
gotta be
feed.
not in there.
So, tell us a little bit about Full Metal Alchemist, because it's a massive series.
Yeah, it was a
Shao
massive
Tucker, he kind of really punched a lot of anime fans in the face.
Yes, I have had fans come up to the table, the signing table, and literally be mad physically at me, like, "You're the worst human, I hate you so much!" Like, girls coming, they want to kill me. Fathers with their children, like, "Why did you do that?" I'm like, "It's just make-believe." But they're like, "You ruined my life!" Like, people walked around seriously depressed for like a long time after that episode aired, and Nina was no longer. Nina was just a scruffy little puppy. I have to make jokes because it's really sad.
It is.
Yeah.
I think
a lot of people broke their hearts on that one.
I probably shed a tear.
Yeah.
As well.
I didn't cry. I laughed.
But you've continued to do that type of like crazy role. I mean, you're Stein in Soul Eater, which
Right.
he's not any more switched on than Shao Tucker.
Yeah, Stein, you know, the playing crazy characters is easy for me, I guess, because I'm a little mentally unhinged. I don't, subscribe to the normal folkways and mores of natural society. I like to break things down a bit. Yeah, because I think reality gets a little boring if you just like, oh, now I gotta go to my job, and now I'm supposed to watch a show on the telly or whatever. I think that life is meant to be more interesting than that. You gotta be a little crazy to find the more interesting parts.
Is that what drew you to voice acting, though? Is that whole, diving into a reality that isn't your own?
Yeah, that's what drove me to acting in general. Acting was a way to sort of escape I came from a broken family. Life was hard when I was a kid, and the way we'd cheer mom up is doing funny voices. Like, the big thing back then was to answer the phone, "Hello, this is Apu. We're really glad to have you call our pizza place," or whatever, like whoever could do the funniest voice. And so that's where the acting started, with my brothers around the dinner table, and it just continued from there. But the voice acting started because a friend of mine just was like, "Hey, they're doing auditions." But the great thing about voice acting is that you get to play characters you'd never get to play on film. I'd never get to play like, "I'm Ed Garlic Jr." No one's ever going to cast me as a short blue alien. And Hiei, I'd never get that. That would be like Al Pacino when he was younger. I think young Al Pacino would be a great
As in, like, the Godfather Al Pacino.
Yeah, he'd be the Hiei. Young Godfather Al Pacino Hiei.
You're talking right into the camera, which is, the man behind it is the biggest Yu Yu Hakusho fan.
Oh, really?
Could you give him a little Hiei?
Dragon of the Darkness! I don't like, because if I do the full thing, it actually comes out and kills you, and I just don't like to kill people.
Oh, you actually have that? You actually have that
I
ability?
actually have that ability, according to my family. They say I have dragon demons. They really do. They've said I've got dragon demons.
Now, in your panel, you mentioned that you have quite a little bunch of kids.
Yeah, I got 6 children.
6 children.
I know, it's crazy.
It's a big household. And
I don't know what it happens. Just keeps coming home with babies. And I'm like, "Why are you pregnant again?" I have no idea why it happened.
It's all your different anime personas.
Yeah,
probably.
When a man and woman love each other very much, there's a special hug, and then they have sex. That's typically
An
how it
even
works.
specialer hug.
Yes.
So do your kids watch a lot of your stuff?
My oldest, who's 25, watched, I said, "Hey, I'm doing this Dragon Ball Z thing, everybody loves it, and you should watch it too." And I sat him down to watch it, and he was like, his first comment was, this fight is taking way too long. And I was like, that's Dragon Ball Z, you got it. And but he didn't like it. And the other ones, they liked Sergeant Frog. I got to do the script adaptation for Sergeant
It's quite a funny one.
Yeah, and so they would sit over my shoulder. We were pretty strict about screens in our household. They couldn't watch a lot of television, but if I was sitting in the office writing, they'd sort of sit over my shoulder and get to watch little bits of it over and over again as I was writing it. And they'd sort of throw out ideas. Oh, say this word here, and I would go, oh, that works. That's great. And so,
oh, really? So you actually use some of their like.
Yeah, I mean, if it was 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I'd go, yeah, let's do it. And then we watched season 3 of Sergeant Frog when it came out. They really enjoyed it.
And like when they when they hear your voice and they know it's you.
Right.
Can you see something in them light up? Surely, that's their dad.
No, like in Sergeant Frog, their favorite character was Tamama, not Kululu. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna shrink you. The one incident, my son came home from school one time and he went, Dad, everyone freaked out at school when they found out who you were. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got some character cards here, pass them out. Here, I'll sign some stuff. He was like, why? And I was like, well, people like anime, son. And he's like, oh, okay. He's unimpressed.
Well, I mean, like when you did Dragon Ball Z, that was like way back in anime timeline. That's pretty far back. And I don't think it is as popular as it is now. So did you find like a bit, like, I guess, when your oldest son, when Dragon Ball Z first came out, you would have showed it to him, was it kind of just so strange?
Yeah.
It was like this violent cartoon.
Yeah, I grew up, watching like Akira and, a lot of the sort of earlier anime. And then I introduced my whole family to anime with Summer Wars. That was one that was decent for them. Because I've got a wide range of ages, and so like, you can't show the older ones something because everybody's awake, so you gotta be able to show something that everybody wants, which is why Sergeant Frog and Summer Wars and things like that were in our household. And they like it. They like hearing that it's Dad on the television. They think that's kind of cool. My youngest boy now, Max, he's 8. He's starting to think it's really cool. Like I think he may get the bug. Anime is a very particular thing. There's households where there's one kid who loves anime and nobody else loves it, and there's households where Dad through the baby are all, dressed up as, cosplaying at conventions. So it didn't strike my wife, my ex-wife wasn't too much in favor of it. She thinks anime is demonic and horrible.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Your characters in them.
Mine,
but
particularly.
I can't see the connection though, but did she watch Soul Eater? I mean, you're pretty kind-hearted in that one.
Yeah, I'm a good guy in that one.
Apart from the other ones.
But it's all acting, so I don't know what the problem was.
No. But, so you also mentioned, when we talk about acting, you said you did a lot of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
A very long time ago.
No, not too long. Last summer I did Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I still, Shakespeare's the thing I drive towards, when I can clear my schedule enough to take, because to do theater, you got to kind of take a loss, because you don't get paid a lot to do theater.
Right.
So it's a love thing. So when I have the time and there's a Shakespeare show and it works out that it's the right part for me, I will always do Shakespeare.
Well, you mentioned yesterday that I actually quoted you, doing Shakespeare, doing theater is some of the best form of acting practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so is that why you continue to go back to it time and time
again?
Yeah.
Theater, because when you do an anime, you kind of are the character in these little bursts, and when you do a play, you're on stage for 2 hours or 3 hours in that character's skin.
Sure.
So it's like, it's the same reason a lot of people, the really good cosplayers will, be in character the whole time, because it's fun to be in that character for a long duration, and that's the same thing with theater.
I suppose I have to ask, with theater, with anime, when you do the voice acting, when you do the voiceovers, you mentioned that you're not with any of the other actors.
Right.
It's on your own. It's solitary.
Right.
So how do you go back and forth from doing those two things, being on theater with all this cast and then being on your own?
Yeah, you sort of, it's interesting because in the booth, it's the director, the engineer, and then you're in the booth. And everybody's sort of creative and artistic, so you're always kind of goofing around and riffing with each other and making jokes. And sometimes it's not about the anime itself. you're making jokes and goofing around on some other subject to keep the sort of energy up in between the takes.
Right.
Because you got to be, on cue, ready to go in the character. And so you got to kind of keep the energy up the whole time. You can't just sort of burst into the character and then let it drop. But stage work is the best because it's an ensemble. For me, it's the best because it's an ensemble and you get to participate right there with the audience. For me, anime, the best part about it is coming to conventions and getting to do panels and talking to fans. That's that sort of audience interaction that actors crave. We like to know what you guys know and hear what you like and what you didn't like, and that's the most fun I have as an anime voice actor. The voice acting on the properties is great, and in the studio is great, but the conventions is where the fun's at.
I mean, you also get to come and meet your co-stars as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, the dirty little secret about all voice actors is that we're all nerds. We're all geeks too. Like we're back there, in the green room. Oh my God, Johnny Hader's here, and so we get to be, fans as well. And we're fans of each other's work. When someone has a good show, you're like, wow, man, that was really good work. And, it makes it exciting just to participate in the industry.
So there is that solidarity with like the voice actors. Obviously you would, as friends would, lift each other up. Like you said, it's a good show, a great show. But you did mention, you don't get to see your co-stars much. So it begs the question then, like, you continue to do work alongside Vic.
Right.
And as I called it yesterday, his crew, his posse.
Right.
But then you get to do something like Star Trek Continues, where you're all together.
Right.
Do you feel, how can I say, that same chemistry? Like, can you see it from the anime screen, the two characters, talking, interacting the same way you and Vic would on set?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Spirit and Stein have a definite relationship, and I think it comes across. And Vic, I think I recorded first, and then Vic recorded second. Because if you record first, you don't get to hear the other character.
No.
And so Vic, may have more, because he was out of town at the time, I think, and they had to fly him in to record or whatever. But so when you get to hear the other character and it's someone it does make it more. You can have a little bit more of a connection. But we all know each other, and we're all professionals, so it all ends up being top quality work, people.
Do you know, like, obviously you would have a cast list when you go into a production.
Right.
You're working alongside Vic and Yana.
Right.
Does that make you more excited for the series?
Yeah, and when like big properties like Attack on Titan come along, or Space Dandy, and you get to participate in them, and you get to hear all the different voices and the new voices coming up, and the new actors who are coming in. It is exciting to hear the different takes people have on how anime voice acting should be done, and it's really fun. It's a fun job. It's really, I've done roofing in Texas in the summer, so I can't really complain about any job ever again, because this is awesome.
So you did roofing, so you've done a normal job.
Oh, I've done a lot. I was a principal of a Catholic school for 6 years.
Wow.
While I was voice acting.
I was just going to ask, what led you to acting from being almost like a construction worker?
Yeah, no, I've done construction. I've been a principal of a school. I was a chef in a vegetarian restaurant.
You're a jack of all trades.
Yeah, I've done it all. Because when you're an actor, you always have like a fallback thing. Like actors always have some sort of like. And I ended up a principal of a school because I started having a lot of children, and we wanted to send them to private school. And the first child, I said, hey, you don't have a drama program, why don't I do a couple plays for you? And then as I had more and more children, I had to do more and more stuff for the schools to get them free tuition, and that ended up with me being a principal, which was...
I love how you say ended up, like you just fell into the spot of principal.
No, I was teaching an acting class, and one of their teachers quit, like midday, and they're like, can you substitute? And I was like, sure. And then they were like, can you come back tomorrow? And I was like, okay. And it was the 3rd and 4th grade class, and I really loved it. And then I said I can do it for about 2 weeks, and they said sure. And I didn't have any other gigs coming up, and it was like midway through the year, and they're like, do you want the job? And I took it. I was like, okay, I'll do this for a while. And so I kind of cut out all my other acting, my film and my stage work, and I actually did still do some stage work in the summer. But I just kind of focused in on all my children coming to this school where and so I was a teacher, and then by the end of the year I was the assistant principal, and then the next year the teacher quit, or the principal quit, and I ended up being the principal.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had like a year and a half of being a teacher, and then I was a principal.
That almost sounds like an anime that could be written.
Yeah, or on high school, Catholic school, host,
principal,
club principal.
And drama stuff. That would be a great name.
That would
direct translation from Japanese.
Yeah, that sounds like a direct translation.
How did you like juggle doing both these big things?
You know, when I was the principal, because I was in charge, I could say I have a meeting to go to, and I would usually schedule. I'd usually schedule my sessions around lunchtime because I had an hour off for lunch. So I'd take that hour off for lunch, and I told Tara, our schedule coordinator, that I could only do. I said I can do it, but I got to do it in like 2-hour chunks. So you got to. And at that time, Funimation was doing after hours recording too. Okay. So they were recording from 6 to 10. So I said, if you need me during the day, I can only do 2 hours. Otherwise, you got to schedule me after hours. So
and they managed to fit you in.
Yeah.
Well, if they want you enough, you're going to get fit in.
Yeah, and you know, it doesn't take that long to record. Some of the properties don't take it, like characters that I do. I'm not generally like I'm the superhero boy lead, because that voice I just sound like a transgender person. I'm typically, you know, some more character roles. Yeah. You know, Shao Tuckerstein, Hiei. You know, Hiei didn't talk a lot in Yu Yu Hakusho. But although that was probably my meatiest role. So you know, you can get 4 or 5 episodes done in a 4-hour chunk.
Right.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have to take that much time off to do it.
How much input do you have with a character?
We try to take a lot of what we do off what the Japanese have done, but you can't really translate that directly because Japanese culture is so different from Western culture. So we start with that, and then a lot of it's what the director wants in terms of the quality of the voice, and they get that quality by casting you. So.
Sure. I mean, like Vic did mention. And I keep bringing him up, but you guys go in like hand in hand. He's a beautiful man.
He is a beautiful man.
But that's not to say you're not a beautiful man.
I'm character quirky. That's what I am.
I don't believe you. He knows what he is. He's beautiful. But...
Oh, we have to go? Oh, sorry.
I guess
we're being waved out.
That's
okay.
That's
this is... What is this again?
Capsule Computers.
Capsule Computers. And I'm Chuck Huber. And keep watching, or I'll kill you.
Beautiful.